we have mind, that mind can discover principles, and the principles themselves are something that cannot be apprehended just by brains of any other creature, that because brains are always and only coordinating the information input from the touching, the smelling, the hearing, the seeing, and making up packages of those inputs. But mind discovers relationships existing between special case packages that are not in the data of any of the special case by themselves. To make it very simple,
Yes.
Isaac Newton's discovering of gravitational behavior. All the great discoveries of science have been in these interrelationships that are not in any of the data of any of the special case. And that's all the brain can ever deal with, is always the special case information. So that these principles discovered by mind turn out then to be principles. And the principle has no inherent beginning and end, and they do not get accredited by science as a scientific principle if there's ever an exception found. So they are, by definition, inherently eternal. Human mind has apparently gradually been pulling the curtain aside and discovering some of the great design of the universe itself. That we on board of our planet, tiny as we are, our planet couldn't be smaller, tiny little, to you and I big, but to in the astronomical figures, 1/100th of the diameter of the sun, and the sun is a rather small star. It's one of 100 billion stars in our galaxy. We now know of 1 billion such galaxies. 22 billion light-year diameter sweep out of observation. We know that there are those galaxies. When we get into distances and magnitudes here, where our little planet could not be more negligible, and you and I are invisible on our planet, quite clearly in a universe where we have importings and exportings, all the stars are exporting energy, giving it off enormous ways. However, we also discover as of this century that apparently no energy is either created or lost, so therefore the universe is eternally regenerative. It would quite clearly then the exporting means that there must be importing places. And but these stars are all visible to you and I because the energy they give off exporting. We would not be able to identify an importing center off in space because it wouldn't give off anything to be identified by. But our own planet, we discover, is a place where the energies of the universe are being collected, where the sun radiation being pounded by the vegetations and the algae and converted by photosynthesis, beautiful orderly molecular structure, making hydrocarbons out of disorderly receipts. This quite clearly is a place where the biologicals are taking the energies, sorting them out, turning them into orderly structure and burying them ever more deeply, we call the fossil fuels. And we have, amongst all the biologicals, only the vegetation can do the impounding of the sun radiation. The mammals, such as you and I, have to then eat the vegetables or the algae or one of the fish that have grown from one or the other.
Built in 1945, the Dymaxion House was the brainchild of inventor-designer Buckminster Fuller, who wanted to find a solution to meet the need for mass-produced, affordable, and easily transportable housing after World War II. The Henry Ford's Mark Ruther enlightened me on the Dymaxion House's name and its exemplary design. Okay, so Mark, why is it called the Dymaxion House?
Dynamic maximum tension. Buckminster Fuller, and he contracted that into Dymaxion. Let me tell you all about tension.
Okay, so this is the tension I'm talking about. This floor, these walls, this ceiling is all hanging from this central mast. All of this is in tension.
It's kind of like
Kind of like an umbrella.
An umbrella.
Absolutely, yep. Very, very, very strong umbrella with one simple, small foundation in the center. It was designed to be packed into an aluminum tube, shipped anywhere in the United States. This was a prototype.
This is the only surviving Dymaxion house. There are only 2 ever built.